It's a lot of good learning, a lot of stuff that goes on during the day, the walkthroughs, the meetings that are very productive. We get out here and try to put it into action, and I think we're seeing progress. I mean, we're a long ways from where we want to be, but a lot of good things happening. As I was standing there during practice, I was trying to think of some of the young guys that maybe were standing out to me, and I really can't think of any, after 2 practices. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it means they're all doing well. Maybe it means that we're better as a team, and it's harder for them to stand out. But like I said, what I like about our team is our intensity, our focus, and we seem to have a sense of urgency. So if we can maintain that, and it gets harder every day when you're up here because you get fatigued, but if we can maintain that, then we can make a lot of progress while we're here. So that's about it.
News.
Injury updates. Mossy. They were saying it might be a couple weeks before he was full go again. I mean, full contact, so that means he could be back out here in a couple of days doing things, but today he is much improved. Like, his range of motion is almost back to normal. And Mossy's a pretty tough guy, so hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
What did they term it as?
2nd degree AC sprain. Okay, which means nothing to me and nothing to you. But it just means that
sprain, break, dislocation.
Yeah,
Those are the
it means it's
categories.
not serious.
Yeah, okay.
It's not serious. So, and like I said, his range of motion was a lot better today. So hopefully he's back here in the next couple of days. Simon did a little bit more in individual. I think over the course of the next few days, you'll see him start to work into some of the team stuff. I think he's itching to go. And I think every day that he does more individual, he feels more comfortable, with his knee, with his leg, and, gets a little bit closer to the field. I think some of it is just still, that mental block. He's been hurt. It does hurt. He is a big guy. He's putting a lot of weight on it, so he's got to get through that. I think other than that, Cameron fell on his shoulder. I'm hoping that it's not too serious. We'll find out. I don't know if he said that yesterday he tweaked it just a little bit, but it didn't really bother him. He felt something, and then today it was a little more serious. So we'll get a report on that a little bit later.
That'd be X-rays on that too.
I'm sure they'll X-ray that. Yeah. Other than that, I can't think of anybody. Did you guys see anybody?
Is Zach Whitley not doing team?
Zach today, I think he was cramping up again. I think it's the 2nd day in a row that he's had some cramp issues, which is interesting because he's a kid from Houston. This wouldn't be such a big deal. But I think that for the young guys, the speed of the game, the size of the men that they're going against, the tempo that we work at, combined with the heat, and then the mental fatigue because they're having to learn so much, I think it creeps up on them, and I think it just takes its toll. So hopefully he can push through that because, we want to see him out there.
You take those guys out of the humidity, they just can't.
Yeah, they can't operate as well.
How big of a difference is it this year compared to 2 years when, within the first few days there were like 15 guys down or something?
Oh, it was awful. 2 years ago, we had the tub set up over here, and they were doing the rectal thermometers, and we were putting
Who was
guys
doing that?
I wasn't.
Just wanted to clear that up.
They were up to their necks in the ice baths, and I think the temperature right now is perfect. We can get a lot done. But yeah, it was brutal 2 years ago. Maybe it'll heat up a little bit. I mean, like I've said a million times, the heat is kind of a bonus because it forces us out of our comfort zone, but that's not the main reason we're here. Yeah, it was brutal 2 years ago. Those poor kids. It just happened to be the day that, if you guys recall, that, because we have doctors that are on rotation, and we had 2 female doctors, the worst day. And so I remember looking over there and just going, oh, those poor kids. So I went in afterwards and I was talking to our doctors and I said, oh, those poor kids. And the one looked at me, she goes, well, it wasn't a whole lot of fun for me either. I guess you got a point there. So, but we haven't had those problems in the last 2 years. And you know what? Coach Alosi does an amazing job of educating these guys, not only on nutrition, but hydration and recovery and everything. And I think that we're just much more advanced than we've ever been. I think it helps us.
Brett has taken pretty much every opportunity to hype Eldridge up.
Yeah, he's doing that, isn't he?
Have you seen that sort of potential out of Eldridge?
I think we all have, but he's got to become consistent. He makes good plays, makes some really special plays. He made a heck of a catch today, but we just have to see consistency out of him, and we will. I mean, it hadn't been that long. He's big and he's fast and he's physical and he works hard. So, and I'm glad that Brett has trust in him. The thing that you see with Brett and all the receivers really is you do see chemistry and you see trust with Devin Lucien, with Thomas Duarte, with Jordan Payton, with Devin Fuller, you know, now a little bit with Eldridge, and we just got to keep developing that.
Can you tell that maybe Eldridge is a little faster than
think
he
that-
was when you first got him here?
Well, I think, yeah, you know, the further you get away from that knee, you know, he becomes more comfortable, and he doesn't have the brace on anymore, and he's probably, you know, back to at least close to where he was before he hurt his knee. Maybe he's a little bit better. You know, I mean, I know one thing, he works about as hard as anyone you'll ever find.
Is it taking him a little bit longer maybe than some other people to get over the mental part
No,
of that? Or
not my experience isn't that. Here's what they always say, you know, 6 to 9 months and you'll be back. You can be back, but at what level are you back? You know, and at his position, it's a little bit different than maybe an offensive lineman, you know, where your movement's limited. So my experience with players coming off of knees is that it's more than a year. You know, I mean, it just takes more than a year to where you're really feeling confident in that knee again, and that's where I think he is. So.
Seems like you were getting after him a little today. Is that setting the tempo, setting the tone?
Yeah, I mean, I just, like I told him, I mean, we have a certain standard here and the way we want to do things, and my job is to make sure we're always, you know, pushing that standard, and if I see something that isn't right, I got to address it, and sometimes, you know, with the music blaring, it's hard to get my message across in a gentle voice, so sometimes I just have to be a little bit loud, and, you know, I like an intense practice, you know, and a lot of times that has to start with the way the coaches approach it. So.
Is that your playlist?
No, I know the playlist. The playlist is actually designed for different parts of practice. Like individual, you guys have noticed is all that, like, you know, like we get AC/DC. I don't think we've had any Journey, but like Black Sabbath, and what else we get? You're kind of a rock and roll guy.
Nothing I like.
It's
so
more,
far.
it's kind of more up tempo, you know, but grinding kind of music. And then we always go country during one-on-one. I'm not exactly sure why we go country.
Zoni?
No, that might be for Jerry Neuheisel. And then towards the end of practice, when we want to get kind of the rhythm going again, we go back to some hip hop. You know, I think we always kind of end with hip hop. So there's a method to it. I mean, honestly, you know, Coach Alosi puts time and thought into every song that goes on that thing, you know, because of the rhythm of practice and what you're trying to get done and what you want their mindset to be.
So he's the mastermind.
Yeah, well,
He's
yeah.
the DJ.
Yeah, he's the. Yeah, I don't know. He has the playlist. I trust him on it.
Are there?
I don't like all the songs. I don't trust him on it.
The end? That wasn't your personal.
What was
your
it?
personal
You know what
playlist,
happens
anyways?
is, and I think it happens with the players too, is, and I like this, and it's one of the reasons we have it and have it so loud, is you have to learn how to block it out. And so I've learned how to block it out, and I think our players have learned how to block it out. And sometimes when I stand there and I kind of let it in, I go, how are we even communicating out here? 'Cause it's so loud. But I think it's a really positive thing for us to have to learn how to, you know, eliminate all that and just focus on what we're doing. I think it helps us.
You need to talk to Sal there. Had been one Led Zeppelin tune yet.
You know what? I was thinking about, I have not had a Led Zeppelin song yet. We'll get some of that tomorrow.
So none of that hip hop gets caught in your head. There's no song you're waiting for. Right there.
You'd be surprised. I'm very eclectic musically. Yeah, I kind of move from, you know, in and out of moods in different genres. Right now I'm in a heavy Seattle genre when I work out. I've got
grunge sort of.
a lot of Pearl Jam, a lot of Macklemore, a lot of Blues Scholars,
Okay.
a little bit of old Mother Love Bone, which is, you know,
Wow.
Pearl Jam before they were Pearl Jam, and
That is pretty eclectic.
kind of, yeah. I don't know why I'm in the Seattle mood. I just am. So next week you never know. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry to make you
Thanks,
wait.
man.
I apologize.